issued by our friends at the National Weather Service. This tornado warning is in effect for Bamberg and Orangeburg counties until 11 a.m. this morning. I'm going to go ahead and zoom on in for you and show you on our first alert radar where we have the rotation being spotted by the National Weather Service. They issued this warning because of this velocity couplet that you see on your screen. I'm going to circle it for you. Remember, greens are going towards the radar and reds away from the radar. This is near Highway 76 in Midway, crossing over Highway 76. And remember, sometimes our scans on First Alert Radar take a little bit of time to load in. So I'm going to clear this off, and we're going to move this out just a little bit, and I'm going to put a track on it so we can go ahead and get people alerted a little further downstream. So if you're in Cope, Bamberg, if you have family in southern and central portions of Orangeburg County, please make sure that they are headed to their safe spot away from any exterior windows as far into the interior portion of your home as you're able to make it. This particular tornado warning is in effect until 11 o'clock this morning, and it's moving off to the north at about 20 miles per hour. So we're going to go ahead and get the storm track on this and get it zoomed out to the north at about 20 miles per hour. So that's going to move this into Cope by 10:45 this morning. So this is going to continue to go across Highway 78 towards Highway 301 and Cope. So this rotation is past Midway at this point, and this is headed towards Cope over the next 9 to 10 minutes. So we're going to clear this off the screen, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and we're going to go downstream a little farther for people who are in the polygon. Remember, we respect the polygon, so if you have any family that lives near or to the south of State Highway 400, also near State Highway 70, State Highway 332, these are going to be some places where you're going to want to head to your safe spot in your home immediately. This is to the south and west of Orangeburg County, or in Orangeburg and downtown Orangeburg. At the moment, you are not under this tornado warning. I still want you, though, to head to your safe spot or be prepared to head to your safe spot, because this area of rotation that is currently warned is very, very close by. So this area of rotation is now just to the north of Midway, just to the east of Bamberg, and it's going to continue to move off to the north at about 20 miles per hour. So the rotation itself, you can see on our first alert velocity product this morning, the greens going towards the radar site and the reds away from the radar site. That tells us here that this is the couplet that the National Weather Service is warned for us until we see this warning able to expire, which is at 11 o'clock this morning. So we still have about 24 minutes until we get to that point. So the rotation that was warned by the National Weather Service is now north of Midway. I'm going to clear this off your screen, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see a little farther downstream where we're going to have to keep an eye out for the opportunity for this area of rotation to move a little further to the north. So again, this is going to move towards Highway 301. If you live in Cope, please head to your safe spot. I'm talking the far interior portion of your home, away from any type of windows, doors, anything exterior you need to stay away from as this tornado warning moves towards you. So this couplet that we're watching on First Alert Radar this morning, now moving a little closer to Bamberg, east of Bamberg. Bamberg, you still need to be in your safe spot because you are within the polygon, but remember that you need to get away from any exterior windows, interior portion of your home, as far inside as you can get. And of course, if you have a storm shelter or anything like that, that's going to be the best case for you once we get through this warning. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to put a tracker on this warning so you can see where the couplet and the velocity product is headed as we speak. Remember, it's moving off to the north at about 20 miles per hour. So that puts this into Cope around 10:45 to 10:46 this morning. So if you have family in Cope, let them know that they need to head into their safe spot immediately. We've got other highways here, State Highway 70, Highway 301. If you live in these areas, please make sure that you're headed to your safe spot east of Denmark and Sweden. Denmark and Sweden, you aren't in the tornado warning, but you're close enough to the polygon that I'd like you to head to your safe spot just to be safe until we can get this area of rotation to lift past you and move farther to the north. At this time, we still have a tornado warning that's in effect until 11 o'clock this morning, in the area of velocity that the National Weather Service is keeping an eye out for. Looking at some of the scans that I've seen off screen on another radar product that I'm using on my phone, the good news is that we're seeing a little bit of weakening of this particular rotation. And I'm going to drop it back in time a little bit so you can see why the National Weather Service decided to issue a tornado warning. When you see on your screen here this brighter shade of green and red, this was the exact moment where the tornado warning was issued by the National Weather Service because of the couplet that was deemed to have formed on first alert radar. So as this has moved farther to the north, I'm going to clear that off. Pay attention to that portion of your screen. You'll notice that in this particular area where the rotation initially showed some stronger signs of development, as you move forward in time, notice how the greens get a little dimmer and the reds have also taken over. So that's good news. That tells us that this rotation is weakening, but we're still going to respect this warning because it is in effect until 11 o'clock this morning. Although the stronger rotation that was initially warned by our friends at the National Weather Service has been allowed to at least continue for now. So again, let's go ahead and move a little farther ahead of where the rotation is, and let's go ahead and get into our safe spots. If you live on Highway 301, anywhere around Cope and Highway 301, please head to your tornado safe spot. Again, that's away from any exterior windows and doors, as far interior as you can get. If you live in a two-story home or in an apartment building or anything like that, get to the lowest floor that you possibly can. Go ask your neighbor if you can shelter with them in place while this warning is headed your way. Cordova, you're almost in the polygon. Technically not. I'd still say I'd like for you to head to your tornado safe place just because of how close this rotation is going to pass to your south and to your west. So the area of rotation that was warned by the National Weather Service, as I just told you about, has weakened a little bit, which is some good news. We'll certainly take that wherever we can get it. And the broader area that we're still going to keep an eye out for as this warning continues until 11 o'clock this morning is going to be that area that I circled for you on your screen. The greens are moving towards the radar site, reds away from the radar site. That's where we have the rotation that we're going to have to watch out for closely as we move towards the 11 o'clock hour. So I don't have any indications. I'm checking our National Weather Service chat where we get to chat with the meteorologists at the National Weather Service. I don't have any indications of them as far as if they're going to continue this warning or if they also have seen anything as far as confirmed video or confirmed pictures, or none of our emergency managers have spotted anything either. So that's still some good news, something that we're going to keep an eye out for, of course, as we continue with this tornado warning, which is in effect until 11 o'clock this morning. So as we zoom out a little farther here to the north, again, the rotation that we're watching is southeast of Cope now. It's going to be this area that I've circled for you in green on your screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the camera a little bit so I can put a tornado track on this as this broad rotation continues to move farther to the north and to the east. So the good news is that it has weakened, but we can't let our guard down. The tornado warning is still in effect until 11 o'clock this morning. So we're going to zoom out a little bit again here, and I'm going to place a tornado tracker on this for you so you can get an idea farther downstream. Call your family and friends and let them know an area of rotation that was warned by the National Weather Service is going to be headed their way. So again, at about 20 miles an hour off to the north, this will put this tornado warned cell into Wolfton by 11:12 this morning. So that is past the polygon. However, I will say if you live a little farther downstream, it wouldn't hurt, better safe than sorry, to go ahead and get into your tornado safe spot. We'll be the first to alert you if this tornado warning is expired, so you're able to make it out of there okay. But go ahead and let your family and friends know in Cope they need to be in their tornado safe place immediately. That is, again, away from any exterior windows, as far inland as as far interior into your home as you're able to get, as well as into a far bottom floor if you happen to live in a two-story home or in an apartment building that would be taller than 1 story. So the rotation has broadened out, as we were talking about. That's some good news. Orangeburg, you're not in the polygon. Notice that you're to the north and to the east of the polygon. I'd still like you to get into your safe place to be safe rather than than sorry as this warning continues to move off to the north. We're talking Highway 301, State Highway 70. This is also going to move towards Cope and just to the east of Cope. And with this rotation broadening out, that's not to say that it can't strengthen again. That is good that it has been able to weaken a little bit, but we still need to be on guard until we get the official word from the National Weather Service about this area that we're going to be watching, which is just to the south and to the east of Cope as of 10:43 this morning. So that's the area that we're going to be keeping an eye out for on our First Alert satellite and radar product so far this morning. And I do want to zoom out just a little bit here so we can get a better idea of farther downstream who needs to be prepared for the possibility if we were to see this issue or this warning to be reissued by the National Weather Service. As of right now, I haven't seen any indication from our friends in the National Weather Service, and I'm just getting into the chat room here. Just give me 1 second to click over. Okay, some good news. It looks like portions of the warning have been canceled for Bamberg County as the rotation moves off to the north, but they are going to continue this warning until 11 o'clock this morning. So if you live in Bamberg, if you live near Highway 78, if you live in Denmark, you're out of the polygon. The area of rotation that was warned by the National Weather Service has been canceled. So you are okay to leave your safe place. Just give it 2 more minutes and then you'll be okay, just to be safe, as this area of rotation that I circled for you moves farther to the north. It is broad but still warned, which means that we have the indication from our friends at the National Weather Service that we've got to keep an eye out for the opportunity for this to redevelop or at least try to strengthen some as it drifts off to the north. So I'm going to clear this off your screen, the circle that I had mentioned for you, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so we can get some streets that are just ahead of this rotation that I had circled for you. So again, we're talking Highway 301, we're talking State Highway 70. Please make sure you're headed to your safe place. If you live near Slab Landing Road, this rotation is going to be moving a little closer to you. LeGrand Smoke Street, just to the west of downtown Cordova. Although I'd say if you live in Cordova, especially around downtown or in that portion of town, please head to your safe place. That would be the best thing to do. Better safe than sorry, especially with this rotation expected to pass just to your west as we head through the next 15 to 30 minutes. So again, this tornado warning is in place until 11 o'clock this morning. We do have just to the east of Cope, that's where the rotation has been located. Finland, you're okay. This rotation has moved past your community. If you ended up going to your safe place just to be safe, you're all right. But we're still watching out for this area that is broad, but where the reds and the greens touch. That tells us that there is some type of movement of the wind towards the radar in green and away from the radar in red. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to put another tornado track on this so we can get an idea further downstream just in case the National Weather Service decides to extend this past 11 o'clock this morning, which is coming up here in 14 minutes. We'll move this off to the north at about move this out of the area about 20 miles per hour. And as that happens, Wolfton, still at about 11:10 this morning, is where we're going to be keeping an eye out on things as far as where this particular broad rotation is headed at the moment. And that's the nature of things with these tropical spin-ups, is that they happen very quickly. They can be warned for 15, 20 minutes at a time, and then the moment they fall apart, which can happen very fast, then we have nothing to worry about. But it's the fact that they can happen so fast that we have to stay a little more vigilant, especially once we get into the peak hours of this afternoon, and especially once Helene gets nearby later overnight and into tomorrow morning. That's going to be the main period of time that we've got to be careful. So this broad rotation is now just to the east of Cope. So hopefully you're already in your safe space if you live in Cope. If not, head there immediately, away from any exterior windows, as far interior into your home as you're able to make it. This is near Highway 301, State Highway 70 as well, and just to the west of Cordova. So that's going to be some areas where you're going to want to make sure that you're headed. If you live in Cordova, I'd still say I would head to my tornado safe place. You're out of the polygon by technicality, but you're so close to it that I want you to be in there rather safe than rather sorry. Even if you're in Orangeburg, this rotation is staying to the north-northeast. As of this moment, it looks like the rotation will stay away from downtown Orangeburg, but I'd still like you to at least be close enough or be ready to go into your safe place if this warning is to be issued farther downstream. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and I'm going to give you another tornado track as to where this rotation is headed at the moment. Nothing confirmed by the National Weather Service. A quick check of our chat group with them, and I don't see anything in there at the moment. And I'm going to zoom this off a little bit out and to the north at about 20 miles per hour. So that's the forward momentum. That also gets this area of rotation a little closer to Staley Crossroads by 11:20 this morning. So that's where we're going to be keeping an eye out on things once we get into the next hour, if this warning is able to be lifted by the National Weather Service. So I'm going to go back into where the polygon is, and I'm going to show you the rotation that we're watching on First Alert radar this morning. It's going to be where these areas of red and green butt up against each other here on First Alert radar. Remember, greens are going towards the radar site and reds are going away from the radar site, and that's why we have the indication on our velocity product that we have a area that we need to watch, or a system or a shower that could produce a quick spin up tornado. So this is the area that we're watching. This is the area where the tornado warning was issued for, and it is moving off to the north. So if you live in Cordova, please, I'd say just go ahead and head to your safe place to be safe rather than sorry, even though you're not included in the polygon. This area that we're watching, this couplet that we're watching, is going to move very close to you. LeGrand Smoke Street. I hope I'm saying your communities correctly. I apologize if not. LeGrand Smoke Street, that's going to be an area where we're going to need to make sure that we're headed to our safe spot. If you live along Highway 301 or very close to Highway 301, make sure you go ahead and head to where you need to be to get safely. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit closer to some of these streets that are going to be a little farther to the north of where the rotation's headed. We've got Richard Road off of 301 and Highway 70, Hickory Hill Road. We've got Copper Road, Courtney Lane. Also a little farther south from there, Elder Branch Road, Dempsey Road. These are some places along Highway 301 and State Highway 70 where you need to head to your safe place immediately, as quickly as you can. Again, that's going to be far interior portions of your home, away from any windows and away from anything that is connected to the outside. If you live in the second or third story of a building, like an apartment or a house, get to the lowest floor that you possibly can. So the rotation itself, I'm going to check the National Weather Service chat here and see if we have any indications of what they're thinking. And they haven't posted anything new yet. The rotation itself, still we're watching closely in the same area, these reds that are buttoned up against these greens that I circled for you on your screen. And the deeper shades of green that have started to pop up here on First Alert radar, that's where we're going to have a little bit of concern as far as where the best opportunity for a tornado to be developed is going to occur. So I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to move a little farther to the north here so I can put another tornado track as to where this area of rotation is going to be headed once we get a little farther downstream. In case this warning is to be issued once again by the National Weather Service past 11 o'clock, which is coming up here in 9 minutes, it would be issued further downstream for communities such as Wolfton. By 11:10 this morning, this would move towards Staley Crossroads by 11:20 this morning. So this particular tornado warned cell is going to drift off to the north at about 20 miles per hour, again in Wolfton at 11:10 this morning, and then also into Staley Crossroads at 11:20 this morning. So these are going to be some areas that we're going to if you live in these areas, if you have family that lives around Staley Crossroads or Wolfton, give them a heads up to say, hey, you know, we have a tornado warning system or a storm that's headed your way. Please make sure, you know, you're ready to get into your safe spot, because this cell is continuing to move off to the north, and I haven't seen any indications from our friends at the National Weather Service as if to what they're thinking, or if they're going to extend this farther downstream, or if they're going to allow it to expire at 11 o'clock this morning. So here we go. I'm going to zoom out here, and I'm going to show some of the communities as to where this couplet is going to be headed. So the area on First Alert satellite and radar that is currently being warned, you can see where it is shifted a little farther to the north with our new scan. It is right over Highway 301 and State Highway 70, just west of Cordova. And again, Cordova, I hope you went to your safe place just to be safe instead of sorry, because this rotation couplet very, very close to you. Even though you aren't included in the polygon, you could certainly at least have some remnant or lingering localized impacts in the form of some of these winds picking up as this particular cell is headed your way. So I'm going to change over here. I'm going to lift the camera a little bit, and I'm going to go and switch from our velocity product over to our reflectivity product, and I'm going to see if we have any type of notch. And I figured as much. It's hard during these tropical systems to get a little bit of inflow. Maybe if there's somewhere on reflectivity we're seeing where the rotation could be occurring, it's going to be in here where you see the inward motion. I'll get our arrow product, and you'll see the motion itself into the storm, where we're getting some of the counterclockwise motion that could be causing this particular tornado warning. So I'm going to clear that off the screen, and I'm going to get back to our velocity product. And I'm using storm relative velocity, and I'm using that because storm relative velocity takes out the mean motion of Helene and the showers headed towards us with Helene, and it gives us a little bit of a better idea and kind of ciphers out some of the motion of the storm into our velocity product, so we can get a better idea of the couplets that we're keeping an eye out for. So Edisto, this rotation is going to pass just to your west. I'd say better safe than sorry. Go ahead and get to your safe place, at least until this couplet passes to your north. Taking a look at our National Weather Service chat, and I don't have any indications from them as to if this is going to be continued downstream, still in effect until 11 o'clock this morning. So for now, we'll just continue as if this is going to be issued a little farther downstream. I'm going to move ahead a little farther to the north here, and I want you to head to your safe place. If you live near State Highway 400, you're not in the polygon, but you're very close to it. And if they were to issue a warning downstream, this is an area that's going to be impacted as soon as they did. So Cordova, the rotation itself, starting to move a little farther to your north now. I'd give it about 5 to 7 more minutes before you're okay from leaving your tornado safe place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out again, since this rotation couplet is getting close to our polygon, and I'm going to zoom out enough to where I can issue another tornado track or a couplet track, so we can see where this particular couplet that was warned by the National Weather Service is going to be headed. So this is going to be off to the north at about 20 miles per hour into Wolfton by 11:12 this morning, and into Staley Crossroads by 11:22 this morning. So I've got brand new word coming in from the National Weather Service. They're drawing up a new tornado warning downstream of this original warning that was issued, and it will include not only Orangeburg counties, but also portions of Calhoun County. So any moment now, we're going to get a brand new warning into the First Alert Weather Center, and that's going to be a brand new tornado warning for portions of Orangeburg and Calhoun counties. If I had to make a statement here as far as where they're going to be headed with this polygon, it's going to be off to the north at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and get ahead of the National Weather Service here and go ahead and issue this particular tracker farther downstream. So that's going to be Wolfton by 11:12 this morning, into Staley Crossroads by 11:22 this morning. These are going to be areas where you need to go ahead and head to your safe spot now, because there's going to be at any moment a tornado warning issued downstream of where we have now for portions of Orangeburg and soon to be Calhoun counties as well. The couplet itself, as long as it stays on this northward trajectory, will miss downtown Orangeburg, but I'd like you to be in your safe spot just to be safe rather than sorry as this couplet moves off to the north. So I'm going to clear this off the screen. We're still waiting for our new tornado warning, and there it is populating in, and I'm going to go ahead and get the details on this on your screen for you. And this new tornado warning is in effect until 11:30 this morning, and that's going to be for portions of Calhoun and Orangeburg counties. That's the alert itself coming into the Weather Center. I'm going to snooze that so we don't hear it going off. And yes, we have this brand new tornado warning in effect until 11:30 this morning. So this is the warning that we're keeping an eye out for, and this is a brand new tornado warning. So the old tornado warning, of course, will be allowed to expire. It's this particular couplet that you see that we're going to have to continue to watch as we get through the next half hour. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to zoom in a little farther into the cell as to where it's headed over the next couple of minutes. And as a reminder, what you're seeing on your screen, our radar product has to circle the entire Earth. So it does take some time for our scans of velocity to catch up to what you're seeing on your screen. It's not a huge delay, but don't take this as of a right this second thing until we're able to see where the new scan comes in. So right now, the couplet that was warned by the National Weather Service is now to the north of State Highway 70 as well as Highway 301. It's headed towards State Highway 400. I hope in State Highway 400, if you live in this area, if you haven't already made it into your safe place, go ahead and do so now. I'm going to move a little farther upstream from the warning. State Highway 4, you're included within the polygon. Please make sure that you're headed to your tornado safe place. Again, that's going to be away from any exterior portions of your home, whether it be a door, a window, anything like that. Got to get away from it. If you live in a two-story home, apartment building, anything like that, most bottom floor that you can get to. Some of the roads that we're getting to populate here where you need to make sure that you're prepared for this couplet to pass nearby. Beeson Road, please be careful. Go ahead and head to your safe spot immediately. Gramercy Road, I'm hoping I'm saying some of these community names right, and if not, I apologize for that. Irix Pond Road, Till Hill Road, Gospel Hill Court, Shillings Bridge Road, as well as Drag Strip Road. And all of these are going to be along State Highway 4 throughout portions of Orangeburg and Calhoun County. So that's where you're going to want to make sure you're headed as the couplet that was warned again by the National Weather Service continues to move farther downstream. This is going to be until 11:30 this morning for Calhoun in Orangeburg County. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and I'm going to look at the warning motion, which is still off to the north at about 20-25 miles per hour. So what we're going to do is I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to tilt the camera a little bit so that we can get a better idea of some communities farther down the line that could be impacted by this tornado warned couplet. So here we are. Here's the product, 25 miles per hour off to the north. Not so fast. There we go. So this is going to be into Wolfton again by around 11:13, 11:12 this morning. Staley Crossroads, that's going to be at 11:22 this morning. And a little farther downstream, we're going to have to watch this cell by 11:30 towards Highway 176. So we're going to keep a close eye on things. Our warning expires at 11:30, but if you have family near Staley Crossroads or north of Staley Crossroads, go ahead and send them to their tornado safe place, or make sure you're headed there now if you live in these areas, because the warning is still going to be in effect until that point. So I'm going to tilt our camera again, get us a better zoom here, and I'm going to zoom back into our velocity product, and I'm going to look off screen as well at one of our other velocity products on an app that I use. And the good news is that although this couplet formed together very quickly, I'm also seeing some indications that it is also, as we speak, falling apart as well. And if you remember, earlier in the lifespan of this tornado warning, there was a brief moment where that happened. So that's why we still got to respect the warning, even if the couplet itself that is warned doesn't look entirely impressive, and it really doesn't. Here it is. That's the area that we're going to have to continue to watch as it moves off to the north. But the reds and the greens that touch each other as far as to what we're looking for when we're trying to find rotation, they've spacened a little bit or gotten farther apart a little bit. And that means that this particular rotation is continuing to weaken. So this is throughout Orangeburg County. There are portions of Calhoun County west of St. Matthews, right near 26, that are included within this polygon, but this is going to continue until 11:30 this morning. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clear this off the screen. I don't see any indications from the National Weather Service on their thoughts with the rotation broadening out again. But I am going to continue to look a little farther to the upstream and see what communities we're going to be keeping an eye out for. So this is State Highway 4. Also, if you live in Wolfton, please make sure you're headed to your safe place. Some areas around Wolfton that you need to make sure that you're headed to a interior portion. That's going to be State Highway 4, Breezy Drive, Drag Strip Road, Field Twin Road, McDaniel Road, Irix Pond Road, Schillings Bridge Road. These are a bunch of communities where you're going to want to make sure you're headed into your tornado safe place. Again, that's going to be far interior portions of where you live, away from any exterior portions of your home. That means your windows, your doors, all of these are going to be places that you need to get away from. So here's another look at the couplet that we're watching, and we're using the storm relative velocity product because that takes away the mean motion of Helene's showers that are starting to filter onshore. It's this broad area of rotation, and again, just because it's broadened out, that doesn't mean you can let your guard up, because remember earlier in the lifespan at about 10:45 this morning, we had some weakening of the couplet, and it strengthened once again, which is why we have another warning that was issued by the National Weather Service. Orangeburg, you're out of the polygon. The couplet looks like it'll pass to your west. I'd still like you in your tornado safe spot for another 10 minutes because in case we see any type of wobbling of this, we're going to want to make sure that, we're being better safe than sorry. Even though you're out of the polygon, you're still very close to it. And so that is something that you're going to want to keep an eye out on. Looking in the Slack service, that's the chat that we use with the National Weather Service. They haven't given us any updates yet. I can tell you that the rotation itself has broadened, which is very good news. That means it's once again weakening, and that's typically the thing that we see within the lifespan of these tropical systems, especially when we have tropical tornado warnings, is that we have the opportunity for them to develop very quickly, like you saw just now and what we had closer to 10:45 this morning, and also they can fall apart very quickly. And even though the rotation itself is still there in a very broad capacity, notice how the reds and greens aren't nearly as together as they were earlier. What I'm going to do to show you that is I'm going to take the green circle off where I was looking at the couplet, and I'm going to go back in time a little bit, and I'm going to show you where the couplet itself was a lot more pronounced. That is the exact reason why they issued farther downstream. Look at how tightly paired these reds and greens are. That tells us that there's rotation occurring within this cell. And then notice that once I take off the couplet that we circled and I go forward into time, into the moment we are now, the reds and greens spreading apart and becoming more broad. There's still rotation, but it is broad rotation. So we're going to continue to watch things here in our chat service with the National Weather Service. I have no indications from them that they're going to allow this to expire at 11:30 quite yet, or that they're going to cancel this warning early, and we'll be the first to alert you if either of those happen. But for now, I'm going to zoom back in, and I'm going to show you who needs to be in their safe spot. Wolfton, you need to be in your safe place. That's going to be far interior portions of your home, away from windows, away from doors, anything glass, any way that can connect to the outside. Gotta stay away from it, because that's where we're going to have the opportunity for winds to blow debris into your home. And it's already breezy. Even if this doesn't pick up your winds, it's still breezy outside. So all the more of a reason to make sure you stay away from anything exterior. This is going to be right along Highway 178, Highway 178 near Wolfton. That's going to be some of these communities around Wolfton where I'd like you to head into your tornado safe spot. Fairview Road, Ryan Road, Aberdeen Road, Jeff Road, all along Highway 178 that feeds into Wolfton. These are going to be some communities where the couplet is headed your way. Checking the National Weather Service here, nothing about our tornado. The only thing they've issued since we last checked is that they are continuing the tropical storm warning. So That's just something that we've had in place because of the strong gusts of wind that we can anticipate as Helene gets closer and closer to us once we make it a little later into this evening and into the night tonight. So I'm going to zoom back out and put another tornado track on this for you, tilt the camera a little bit so we can get some more of our friends in the polygon included in this particular warning. Again, the couplet itself now moving to the west of Orangeburg. Orangeburg, give me 5 more minutes in your safe place, and then you can get out of there and go about what you were doing through the rest of this morning and into your afternoon. Going to get this into a slightly better place, a little farther to the north, and then we're going to throw the track on it moving northward at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So we'll get that to the north here. And again, this is going to include Wolfton in the next 8 or 9 minutes. So if you haven't already, please make sure you're headed to your safe place in Wolfton. Again, away from any exterior windows, anything that connects you to the outside, you got to get away from. Staley Crossroads, this is going to be in your community by 11:24 this morning. Farther downstream, Carolina Eastman, places around Eastman by 11:45 and into 11:50 this morning. That's where we're going to be keeping an eye out for as far as this tornado warn system is concerned. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to rotate our camera back to the north here, and I'm going to zoom back in on the broad couplet that we were watching that had strengthened a little bit, but also had shown some signs of it also weakening. And remember, what you're seeing on your screen now is a little bit delayed from what is happening in real time. The radar beam itself that you see occasionally pass through your screen, it has to travel the entire Earth, of course, in a circle to get back to where it's passing through and giving us an update on what we're seeing. So the broad couplet that we're watching is going to be where I'm circling on your screen for you here around State Highway 4. This is still just south of Wolfton. We've been saying Wolfton for the last 15, 20 minutes. If you could, please head to your safe place. It's still not too late. Make sure you get there if you haven't already. And again, away from any type of exterior windows, doors, anything that connects you to the outside. Got to stay away from that. A little farther to the north, I'm going to zoom in on some communities in between Wolfton and Staley Crossroads that I'd like to see you headed to your safe place if you haven't already. If you live near 26 in Staley Crossroads, that's going to be an area where you're going to want to make sure you're in your safe place. This is going to be near Kennerly Road. A little farther zoomed in, we'll get some communities here. Schofstall or Schofstall Road. Again, I apologize for mispronouncing these if I do. Belfair Road, Bottlebrush Road, Providence Road, Mary Joy Lane. These are some places in between Wolfton and Staley Crossroads that I want you to head to your safe place as you are under this tornado warning until 11:30 this morning. Thomas Road as well is also included within this tornado warn storm. I'm going to zoom out here and let's go back to the couplet and see how it's holding up. It's still broad. It doesn't look nearly as strong as it did when we were looking at the initial warning around 11 o'clock this morning. Wolfton absolutely needs you in your safe place. I'm going to look off screen here at our other Velocity product on an app I'm using on my phone. And it looks as well for both that we can still see that we have very broad rotation within this couplet. It is within here, we do have some reds trying their best to butt up against these greens. That's where we keep an eye out for as far as the possibility of there being a tornado within these velocity couplets that you see on radar. But for now, we don't have anything that's on the ground, nothing confirmed on the ground by any emergency managers or tornado or National Weather Service employees. And just checking our chat here with the National Weather Service, they are continuing the tornado warning. I imagine that they just slivered some of the polygon, and they did. It's updated on our screen here. So they took off portions of Orangeburg County. If you live near State Highway 400, you are no longer in the polygon. You're safe. You are okay to move into just going about what you were doing before the tornado warning was issued. The couplet itself that we're watching still has moved north and west of Orangeburg, the downtown area. Please just give me 2 more minutes in your safe spot and you'll be good to go once this couplet moves a little farther to the north. Wolfton, Staley Crossroads, I need you in your safe space immediately if you haven't already gotten there. And these are some areas that are going to be seeing this couplet passing over within the next couple of minutes. Highway 178, right near Wolfton, and some of these communities in between Wolfton and Staley Crossroads. This is Amber Road, New Wolf Road, Belfair Road, Kegler Road, Kennerly Road. This also is going to include Providence Road, Bottlebrush Road. These are all going to be some places where you are going to have the couplet pass right over your community. So please make sure that we are going to head to our tornado safe spot in these areas, again, away from any exterior portion of your home that is connected to the outdoors. You want to get as far away from that as you possibly can. Still keeping an eye out on our chat with the National Weather Service. They haven't given us any communication as far as what they're thinking as of this moment, and none of the emergency managers within Orangeburg County around this cell have seen anything at the moment as far as ground truth that would confirm to what we're seeing on first alert radar so far this morning. So zooming out and looking at the warning that we have, this is again in effect until 11:30 this morning. This is going to be very continue to drift off to the north at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So the couplet itself has broadened out, but we're still going to respect the polygon. That doesn't matter as long as the warning is in place. We need to be in our safe spot designated by the far most interior portion of our home. So an area that we might have to keep an eye out for, I'd say over Wolfton now. That's where the couplet is currently located. You see on our first alert radar where we have these reds and these greens that are trying to butt together. That tells us that there's at least some sort of broad rotation that we're picking up on here that is continuing to move off to the north. So Wolfton, I hope you were already 10, 20 minutes ago in your safe place. If not, make sure you get there immediately. This couplet has moved overhead a little farther to the north. Staley Crossroads, this is right along Highway 172, or State Highway 172, excuse me, and Highway 178. So Staley Crossroads, you still need to be in your tornado safe place.